My father has always understood that people of all faiths, all backgrounds, and all communities deserve to be celebrated and supported.
Prince William has collapsed. And this time, it's not just stress or pressure. It's the truth. A truth buried deep for decades. A letter from Princess Diana. Hidden DNA results. And whispers of another man. Is King Charles really William's father? Or has the royal bloodline been a carefully guarded lie? What William just found out has shaken the palace and his identity. Stay with us, because what we're about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew. A letter from Diana. The warning William was never meant to read. Hidden in a private vault inside Kensington Palace, a letter surfaced that has left the royal family shaken. It wasn't just any letter. It was a personal note from Princess Diana to her eldest son, William. The note was sealed, marked with her signature, and simply addressed, "For William, when the time is right." No one expected to find it. Not now. Not with everything else the monarchy is already navigating. According to those close to the situation, the letter was found during a routine archive transfer. What's inside? Emotional, cryptic, and heartbreaking words from a mother who seemed to sense that her son would one day face an unbearable truth. In the letter, Diana reportedly writes, "Truth has a way of rising, even through marble walls. One day, William, the questions you never asked will find you." She doesn't name names. She doesn't accuse. But the undertone is unmistakable. She feared there was more to William's origins than anyone ever dared to say out loud. The language is subtle, but full of unease. She talks about unspoken fears, eyes that turned away, and a silence so deep even love couldn't fill it. Those who've seen the letter say it reads like a warning, one that was never supposed to be read while Diana was alive. And now, decades later, William has read it. What followed next would send even bigger ripples through the palace and put his entire identity under question. The DNA that changed everything. Shortly after the letter's discovery, a confidential document reportedly landed in William's hands. It wasn't a letter. It wasn't sentimental. It was scientific. A source close to the family says this document was a DNA test result, one allegedly conducted years ago and buried by royal aides. The test, according to whispers within palace walls, shows something no one expected: a mismatch between Prince William and King Charles. Yes, that's exactly what the report says. William's DNA didn't align with Charles's. And that's when things got serious. The name of the lab remains secret. No one knows who commissioned it, though many suspect it was done during one of the royal family's more scandal-prone years. Perhaps after Diana's Panorama interview or amid rising tabloid rumors. But the bigger question now is this: why was this test hidden? Who chose to suppress it? And why has it suddenly come to light now? One senior staffer was quoted saying, "This isn't just a family issue anymore. It's a national one." For William, the letter and the DNA report came almost back to back. And what happened after he read both has left his inner circle scrambling. Because that's when the collapse happened. Major James Hewitt, the man behind the rumors. For over 2 decades, one name has haunted whispers about Prince William's true parentage: Major James Hewitt. The charismatic cavalry officer who once stole Princess Diana's heart has long denied the rumor that he is William's real father. But, as fresh evidence comes to light, the royal family's official timeline is beginning to fall apart. According to royal archives and years of public statements, the story has always been the same. Diana and Hewitt didn't meet until 1986, 2 years after William was born in 1982. The palace stood firm. Hewitt repeated the claim in multiple interviews. Even Diana's friends maintained the same timeline. But what if that timeline was never real? Recently unearthed records, including diary notes, driver logs, and statements from palace staffers who worked closely with Diana in the early 1980s, suggest that her relationship with Hewitt may have begun much earlier than publicly admitted. A retired royal bodyguard, speaking under condition of anonymity, revealed, "We were instructed to escort Hewitt discreetly to and from private locations. I remember one detail vividly. It was before Harry was even born." If true, that changes everything. Because if Diana and Hewitt were already in contact before William's birth, the entire narrative about his paternity begins to shift. Of course, speculation isn't new. People have long pointed out the physical similarities between William and Hewitt, especially their red hair, strong jawlines, and mannerisms. For years, these were dismissed as coincidence or the result of Diana's family traits. But with the timeline now under question, what was once dismissed as tabloid gossip is starting to feel more like suppressed truth. Back in 2002, when the rumors were first gaining traction, Hewitt told the press, "There is no truth to that rumor whatsoever. I met Diana after William was born." But when contacted again in recent months, his tone had changed drastically. A reporter from a British media outlet said Hewitt refused to answer questions directly. Instead, his legal representative issued a short, chilling response. "No statement will be given." That silence speaks volumes. It's no longer a denial. It's a wall of secrecy. And in today's media landscape, silence often raises more questions than it puts to rest. When Prince William reportedly received the newly surfaced documents, including logs that placed Hewitt in Kensington Gardens at odd hours during 1981, sources say he was visibly shaken. He locked himself in a private room for hours, one aide revealed. He didn't speak. He didn't move. It was like the world had shifted beneath him. No matter how much time has passed, the truth, or even the hint of it, has an uncanny ability to destroy illusions. For William, learning that the man he's believed to be his father might not be, isn't just personal. It's political. It's constitutional. Because this isn't just about a rumor anymore. This is about whether the future King of England might have been built on a lie. And that chilling possibility is something even the firm can no longer ignore. The collapse. William's breakdown behind closed doors. It happened at a private residence, away from cameras, away from press, and far from Buckingham Palace. Prince William, after reading the letter from his mother and reviewing the DNA report, reportedly fainted. Sources close to the situation say his security detail was called immediately. He was rushed into a secure wing of the property, where doctors were brought in under a strict confidentiality order. No official statement was released, not from Kensington Palace, not from the Royal Communications Office. Nothing. But those nearby said the energy changed instantly. "We knew something bad had happened," one royal staff member told reporters. "It wasn't just shock, it was grief, a different kind." Kate Middleton, William's wife and closest confidant, was reportedly in tears. She's said to have kept the children in a separate wing of the home, trying to shield them from the chaos unraveling behind the scenes. It wasn't just personal pain, it was identity. Everything he thought he knew cracked, said someone familiar with the family's dynamic. And while the palace worked to contain the emotional fallout, another wave of uncertainty was already brewing, at the highest level of the monarchy. Because King Charles was about to find out. Charles's reaction: silence, fury, or denial? When King Charles was first briefed on the unfolding situation, those expecting a storm of emotion, rage, grief, denial, were met with something far more unsettling: silence. He didn't issue a statement. He didn't address the press. He didn't even pick up the phone to call William, insiders claim. Instead, Charles reportedly retreated into his private quarters at Clarence House, where he remained locked in a series of discreet, late-night meetings with senior advisors and legal counsel. For a man who has lived his life under constant scrutiny, this time he seemed less concerned with perception and more focused on containment. Sources close to Clarence House describe him as shaken but not surprised. One senior palace aide, who has known the monarch for decades, put it more bluntly: he's always feared this day might come, not because he believed it, but because he knew Diana had secrets, and secrets never stay buried. It's an admission that carries weight, because for years, Charles has projected an image of calm control. He was the man who weathered public heartbreak, media humiliation, and relentless public comparison to the ghost of his ex-wife. But this was different. This wasn't just a headline or a scandal. This was a question of blood. Did he ever question William's paternity? The official narrative has always been no. But when asked, one former royal aide offered a telling remark: "The king is many things. Naive isn't one of them." Those words hang heavy. Charles has been surrounded by royal advisors, medical documentation, and years of DNA security. Protocols the average person can't even imagine. Yet, for all the palace procedures and royal traditions, even he may have quietly harbored a doubt, a flicker of suspicion, that something didn't quite add up. And now, with the emergence of newly leaked DNA reports and Diana's private letter hinting at truths that will rise through marble walls, that flicker has turned into a full-blown crisis. Still, Charles has not spoken, not even to his closest family members. Senior royals have been left in the dark, unsure whether to rally behind William or wait for some kind of official direction. His silence, once seen as a strength, is now being questioned, interpreted by some as guilt, by others as paralysis. Is this a calculated move by the monarch, hoping the headlines will eventually fade? Or is it something more personal, perhaps a private heartbreak too profound for words? One thing is clear: the king is no longer managing this alone. Sources inside the palace say that Charles, recognizing the potential constitutional and emotional fallout, has quietly turned to the one person he trusts most within the royal family: his sister, Princess Anne. As one advisor put it, Charles may be king, but when he's unsure, he turns to Anne. Always has. And so now, as the monarchy teeters on the edge of unprecedented crisis, it's Anne who's been called in. And what she does next could decide whether the firm survives the storm or crumbles beneath it. Princess Anne's loyalty tested. When everything started to unravel, it wasn't the Prime Minister or palace lawyers that Charles called first. It was his sister, Princess Anne, the one royal who never chases the spotlight, but always shows up when it matters most. For decades, Anne has been the monarchy's secret weapon. Quiet, respected, loyal. She's the one who's handled the worst scandals with a stiff upper lip and a no-nonsense attitude. But this was different. Sources say Anne was called to Sandringham just days after William's reported collapse, not for a public appearance or an event, but for a private family meeting. The issue on the table wasn't just emotional, It was constitutional. And according to those present, Anne was stunned. She's always been close to Charles, acting almost like his silent conscience. But this time, even she wasn't sure what to say. "It's a mess, a royal mess," a palace aide later said, and Anne was put in an impossible position. On one hand, she needed to support her brother, the king. On the other, she had to be there for William, who she's always cared for deeply. This wasn't about choosing sides. It was about holding a family together when it felt like it was breaking from the inside out. Anne is said to have left that meeting more grim-faced than usual, and those close to her say she hasn't smiled since. "She's the glue," someone whispered, but even glue cracks under pressure. As the royal household scrambles behind closed doors, the question becomes, what happens if the very foundation cracks? Because the future of the monarchy was already being prepared, and that future might not be what anyone expected. Operation Many Bridge, a monarchy preparing for crisis. For years, the royal family has quietly rehearsed what happens after King Charles dies. The plan is known as Operation Many Bridge, a code name meant to ensure everything runs smoothly the day the crown must pass on. But now, everything is under review. Sources say legal advisors were urgently brought in to reassess parts of the plan. Why? Because the very next person in line, Prince William, might no longer be eligible to ascend the throne without question. The British monarchy is built on one word: legitimacy. It's not just about blood. It's about law, tradition, and perception. If even one of those is shaken, the whole system trembles. Every folder in that operation is being read again, line by line, one senior courtier admitted. We're in uncharted territory. Behind the scenes, constitutional experts are said to be debating whether succession could continue as normal if DNA questions remain unresolved. And if William isn't officially confirmed as Charles's son, who steps in? The answer may lie with someone who's been absent from palace life for years. Someone who once turned his back on the throne. Someone named Harry. What this means for the line of succession. It's the question no one wanted to ask, but now it's echoing across Buckingham Palace, Parliament, and beyond. What happens to the line of succession if Prince William is no longer considered King Charles's biological heir? Technically, William is still listed first in line to the throne. He's been groomed since birth. But this isn't just about tradition anymore. Legal experts warn that if the public and lawmakers start doubting the bloodline, the constitutional implications could be enormous. There is no official clause in the Act of Settlement that mentions DNA, one royal scholar explained, but the spirit of the law has always been based on lineage. In simpler terms, the monarchy isn't ready for this kind of disruption. Already, quiet discussions are reportedly underway in Parliament. Lawmakers are concerned that a disputed succession could throw the UK into a constitutional crisis. Some believe an emergency clarification bill might be needed to reinforce or revoke William's claim. And in the midst of all this, pressure is mounting on the palace to make a choice: release a statement, deny the rumors, or come clean. Because every moment they stay silent, more people begin asking, should Prince Harry be next? Prince Harry's role: outcast, heir, or king in waiting. It almost feels surreal. Just a few years ago, Prince Harry was the outsider, the royal who left it all behind. But now, some insiders are saying he could be the last hope for a royal bloodline in crisis. If William is removed from the line of succession or steps down voluntarily, then Harry is next in line. That's not just royal gossip, that's royal law. Despite everything, The interviews, the Netflix series, the memoir, Harry remains a legitimate son of Charles and Diana. No DNA test, no rumor, no scandal has ever challenged that fact. And now, the same royal machine that once pushed him out may need him more than ever. But here's the twist. No one knows if Harry even wants the job. He's living in California. He's raising his children away from the crown. He spent years calling out the institution that he once called home. And yet, sources close to Harry say he's been unusually quiet since the scandal broke. He hasn't released a statement. He hasn't done any interviews. He's waiting. Harry's in a position of power now, one observer noted. The monarchy ignored him for years. Now they might need him. And that changes everything. But it's not just about Harry. If the crown truly shifts, another woman's world could be turned upside down. Because Queen Camilla's role is now being questioned like never before. Camilla's position: Queen Consort or widow of a lie. Camilla Parker Bowles has spent years trying to win over the public. From royal mistress to queen consort, her journey has been nothing short of dramatic. And just as the dust seemed to settle, this scandal has thrown her world into chaos. For years, Camilla supported Charles through controversy and criticism. She stood by him through Diana's death, through public backlash, through the early days of his reign. But now, everything is under review. If Prince William is proven not to be Charles's biological son, the image of their blended family begins to fracture, and Camilla's role as wife, stepmother, and queen gets pulled into the storm. Was she kept in the dark too? A former staffer asked. Or did she know and help hide it? Nobody knows for sure. And Camilla has made no public comment. But palace insiders say she's deeply unsettled. She's worried, one said. This affects her legacy, her children, her future. If the monarchy collapses under the weight of this truth, Camilla could go from queen consort to symbol of a broken lie. And at the heart of it all is a mother who saw this storm coming years ago. Coming up next, we dive into how Kate Middleton, caught between duty and devastation, is holding her family together while the crown trembles above them. Kate Middleton, future queen, under siege. For years, Kate Middleton has been the picture of royal grace. Composed, loyal, always one step behind Prince William, but never out of sight. She wasn't just preparing to be queen consort, she was already embodying it. But now, the fairy tale is cracking. When the scandal broke and William reportedly collapsed after reading the letter and DNA documents, it wasn't just the future of the crown at stake. It was the life Kate had built from the ground up. A life defined by duty, motherhood, and loyalty to the man she married. Except, what if that man is no longer the rightful heir? Sources close to the couple say Kate was in utter shock. One palace aide revealed, she cried, not just for William, but for everything they've built together. This wasn't just a family crisis. This was a crisis of identity. Behind palace doors, she's been working overtime to shield her children, George, Charlotte, and Louise, from the media storm. But how do you explain to your kids that their father may not be the future king after all? That the crown they've been raised to understand might not belong to them? The pressure is overwhelming. Public appearances are still being scheduled. Smiles must still be worn. But the weight behind those eyes is unmistakable. And what makes it worse? Silence. The palace won't confirm or deny. William won't speak. And the world is watching, waiting for her to crack. But if there's one thing royal watchers know about Kate, it's that she doesn't break easily. Still, one can't help but wonder, what happens when silence becomes too heavy to carry? Because as the family holds its breath, the public is demanding answers. And now, it's not just a royal problem, it's a national reckoning. Public reaction, faith shaken, support divided. The British monarchy has survived wars, divorces, abdications, and scandals. But nothing has struck the public quite like this. When word got out that Prince William might not be King Charles's biological son, the public reaction was immediate and intense. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #NotMyKing and DNAgate trended within hours. Petition sites crashed from the surge in users calling for a royal investigation. "I grew up thinking William would be king," one London resident told a reporter. "Now I'm wondering if we've all been living a lie." For loyal royalists, the shock runs deep. Many feel betrayed. They've watched William grow from a boy walking behind his mother's coffin to a polished future monarch. To question his place now feels like questioning the entire purpose of the institution. But for others, especially younger and more progressive voices, this is the crack they have been waiting for. "It's time," one activist posted. "Time to end the monarchy. Time to stop pretending blood makes someone better." And that's the real danger. Division. The monarchy has always relied on image, stability, tradition, trust. But now, all three are crumbling. And Buckingham Palace has said nothing. No denial, no confirmation, just silence. The longer that silence lasts, the louder the people grow. Because if William isn't the rightful heir, then who is? And if the palace can hide something like this, what else are they keeping from the public? The people are starting to ask hard questions, and that puts the entire royal institution on the edge of a historic turning point. The monarchy at a crossroads. What happens next? Buckingham Palace has faced plenty of storms, but none quite like this. What started as a hidden letter and a forgotten DNA test has now become a full-blown constitutional crisis. And the monarchy, once considered untouchable, is now at a crossroads. Will the palace speak? Will they issue a denial, a confirmation, anything? So far, there's been nothing but silence. And every minute that silence continues, the pressure grows. Legal experts say Parliament may be forced to step in. If William's claim is challenged, one barrister noted, the monarchy must either defend him or restructure itself. Restructure. That word alone sends chills. If William steps aside or is removed, who takes his place? Harry? A regent? A council? There is no clear answer. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. The monarchy depends on predictability, on certainty. But right now, the only thing certain is confusion. Behind closed doors, King Charles is said to be isolated. Some say he's angry. Others say he's grieving. One source whispered, "He's torn. As a king, he must act. As a father, he's devastated." And William, insiders say he's refusing to leave his home, refusing meetings, refusing to speak. "He's broken," one palace aide admitted. "We've never seen him like this." This isn't just a royal scandal. This is the possible end of the monarchy as we know it. Will they cover it up? Rewrite the truth? Or finally come clean? Because one thing is clear. Diana's words have come true. The truth has a way of rising, she warned. And now, it has. And the world is watching what happens next. So, was this the truth Diana always feared would surface? Has William's entire life been based on a lie? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. If this story shocked you, hit like, subscribe for more royal bombshells, and we'll see you in the next video.